a natural balanced ecosystem, the sharks will make sure that the seals don't get out of control.
Hi, welcome to Wicked Yankee Adventures. I'm Bucky Lewis. Back in 2005, there was a concerted effort in this country to conserve two creatures of the sea that weren't doing that well. One was the Atlantic seal, and the other was the great white shark. Now on Cape Cod, they have prospered, and now people are freaking out because you go swimming on the Cape, and there are great whites swimming with you. We were invited recently by the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy down in Chatham, Mass. to speak with one of marine biologists' leading scientists on great white sharks in the Atlantic, Dr. Greg Skomal. Here's Tara's interview.
We're here with Dr. Greg Skomal in Dennis, Massachusetts. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. It's good to be with you guys.
Yeah, this is pretty exciting for us, especially me who grew up with Jacques Cousteau.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved watching him. And to meet a modern day Jacques Cousteau who's interested in conservation.
I wish.
No, you are. I mean, it is so exciting to meet someone who is inspiring others to learn more about the great whites and the entire ecosystem that is right here on Cape Cod. So thank you for joining us.
No, it's great to be here. I got the best job in the world. You know? More than happy to talk about it.
Now, Greg, what I was reading was you were inspired to become a shark biologist when you were in middle school.
Yeah,
Is that true?
Yeah. I've always loved the ocean, and you know, when I was a young guy, the movie Jaws came out, and I thought it was really cool film. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was inspired by the character in the film by the name of Matt Hooper, who was a marine biologist.
Right, the Richard Dreyfuss character, right?
Yeah, it was Richard Dreyfuss's. It was a great movie. I loved the film.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I thought it would be really cool to study fish,
And it
in particular sharks.
It intrigued you.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't particularly scared by it because it was mostly make-believe, but I mean, it was a good film. It was a fun film. I loved it. And here I am, I don't know, 40 years later. And
several years ago, there weren't that many great whites in the area. I think a lot of this is what we're learning about. It's all about ecosystems, right?
Right.
As the seal population is rebounding, you're starting to see the natural predators come in.
You just said it.
Yeah.
That's basically it. You know, over the course of the last 50 years, almost 50 years, we've watched the seal population, thanks to conservation that we've put in place back in the 70s, come back.
Yeah.
To levels now that are quite high. And when you have that many potential prey items, you know, you're going to have a predator that feeds on them, and that's the white shark. So, you know, we've got the white shark coming back in big numbers as well, not only here off of Cape Cod, but all along the eastern seaboard of the U.S. We're seeing more and more white sharks because we've put some protections in place for that species back in the mid to late 90s. And so, you know, it's the synergy of those conservation actions that have allowed the ecosystem to be restored as white sharks are here feeding on seals, you know, right along our shoreline.
That's right. The restaurant's right here.
Yeah. They got the White Shark Cafe.
That's right. Well, can you explain to our viewers why apex predators are so important in an ecosystem? I think people think that predators are something that could be damaging, but in truth, they're crucial.
Well, you know, when you look at a naturally balanced ecosystem, you're talking about prey species, mid-level predators, mesopredators we call them, and then top predators. So, you know, you need to have all aspects of all those components of the ecosystem in order for it to be balanced and in equilibrium and healthy.
Right.
And so, you know, the top predators include the sharks, and including white sharks. You know, I hear a lot of complaints about too many seals. Well, now the predator here is to try to control the number of seals. In a natural balanced ecosystem, the sharks will make sure that the seals don't get out of control.
That's exactly it. Nature has a way of self-correcting, right? And it's an amazing thing. And one thing that I find interesting is that animal behavior is dictated by their environment. Are these sharks behaving differently than sharks in other parts of the world? Or are they very similar?
No, I mean, if you're talking about white sharks in general,
Yeah.
white shark is a top predator. I mean, let's face it feeds on seals, sea lions, throughout its distribution, throughout the world. It's a scavenger of whale carcasses,
Right.
and it's an essential component of the natural ecosystem. So whether you're talking about white sharks off of Australia or Africa or Mexico or California, they're all fulfilling a very critical role.
That's true. And how far do they travel?
Well, it depends. I mean, if white sharks that are tagged off the coast of California will go out to Hawaii. White sharks
They
that
go
are
that far?
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
my
They'll go as
goodness.
far as Hawaii. There was a white shark once observed in Africa that went to Australia and went back again.
Oh my God.
And our white sharks here that we've tagged off the coast of Cape Cod has gone, they routinely go to Florida, into the Gulf of Mexico, but some have also traveled into the open Atlantic as far as the Azores.
Well, how often do they have to feed? I mean, you're not having seals in the middle of the
No, I mean, the big
Atlantic.
question a lot of scientists have is what do they feed on when they leave the coastline? And nobody really knows. We hypothesize that they feed on squid, perhaps schooling fish. But what's really fascinating about these sharks is when they leave the coastline, they dive down to incredible depths.
Like how
as
far?
great as 3,000 feet deep.
You're kidding,
And
I
so,
didn't realize
it's a really big question is, what are they doing? What are they feeding on at those depths?
Yeah, and the other interesting thing is the social aspects of these creatures. We just recently saw some social interaction, and that's what's great about the technology, such as with drones and technology like that, where you can actually see them interacting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredible the way the technology has changed so much over even just my career, the history of my career. I've been doing this for 35 years, and just to see the changes in technology, with the new tagging technologies, the drone technology, the camera
The GoPros,
technologies,
right?
GoPros, you name it. I mean, so it's been really amazing time to be a scientist.
And with Sharktivity and the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy, that's helped so much. So we are so thrilled to be able to talk to you. Thank you so much for
my
joining
pleasure.
us.
My pleasure.
And we look forward to hearing more about the adventures of Dr. Greg Skomal right here in Cape Cod with the great white sharks. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John. Thanks.